That's it. I've clicked the button. There's no turning back now. We're live again. A week's gone by. Welcome everyone to Robbo's Tech Talk Tuesday, episode 4. This is a general Q&A. So when you're ready, fire away, guys. I'm hoping you can hear me all here. Give me the thumbs up if you are. Should be firing away anyway. No questions. This is what I like. This might be a short Q&A. Actually, Richard Hatfield's brought up a good point. Good evening. Just want to start by saying leave others' gear alone whilst out in wonderful lands. Trail cameras, etc. Very good point. Leave it as you see it, whether it's a gate, trail cameras or whatever. If it's not yours, don't touch it. Pretty simple. Righto, we're loud and clear. What's for dinner? I haven't eaten anything as yet. My wife actually said to me, "You're going to have something for tea?" I said, "Oh no, I'll get this over and done with." Actually, I shouldn't look at it that way, boys. It's always good to get on and have a chat. Righto, no questions. Fire away, boys. General Q&A tonight. There's a few familiar faces out there, which is always great to see. I don't know. Nick Ando, how's it going, Robbo, you mad rooter? Love it, buddy, love it. Righto. Get me eyes tuned in. Let's do it. Stuart Carter's got the first question up. After using the ticker for a while, how are you finding it? Straight up, tickers are probably one of the best rifles for value for money, accuracy, no questions asked. A lot of people say they're a bit boring and they basically think, oh, you know, not another ticker. Well, there's nothing that really goes wrong with them. They're just such great value for money. So, yeah. If I was to pick one thing in my 7mm, the first thing that's sort of in a deer hunting scenario, it is a little bit loud as in far as picking up the round into the chamber. But that could be just the belted round of the 7mm Rem mag. Other than that, they shoot like stink. So no issues whatsoever. One of the best value guns for money. Jamie M, hey mate. Michael Ralph, you hunt any New South Wales state forests? No, not at this stage. A lot of our hunting is to do with distance travelled, and obviously the less distance travelled means more hunting time. So, yeah, for us being in Victoria, don't tend to go there. Jacobs, I'm just going to run through questions, guys. It's great to see you all on here, but I just got to quickly go through the questions. Aussie Outdoors, good evening, bud. Do you neck size only or full size your brass? Straight up, I only full length size if I require or it requires it. Basically, I've done a little bit of a quick video on an easy way of telling that. The easiest way to tell it is your bolt handle. If your bolt handle's tight to drop or starting to get firmer to drop or any more restriction than say like an with no round in the chamber, it's starting to tell you that needs to be full length sized. Otherwise, I only neck size, so it's a pretty easy indication. Cole Curtis, Robbo, what's your opinion of the WSMs? Well, some have probably become more popular than others. I think the 300 WSM, the 270 WSM, are probably what I would say up on the top of the tree as far as popularity and would have taken off really well. Ben's got the 300 WSM and the Blazer, and I think it's a really good round. The 270 WSM is a very versatile round from anything from really sort of a heavy varmint gun to sort of a lightweight, long distance deer rifle. So yeah, I think they're definitely worth keeping out there. And one thing that I've actually sort of thought about, if I was ever to go a big thumper. Probably the 325 WSM has sort of always intrigued me a bit, but I know very little of it. Hunter and Fisher NZ, how are you, mate? What do you think of the Hauer 1500 rifles? Well, unless the Hauers have changed, I think they're probably one of the best value for money rifles again. I think they might be, probably the triggers out of the factory aren't as good as, say, the Tikka, but they're basically, the action itself being a flat bedded action, very similar to sort of the Seiko L series, L461s, very easy to bed and very easy to tune up. So yeah, good value for money, and one of the best parts of it is you can actually buy them as a barreled action, which not a lot of other rifle manufacturers offer. So yeah, I think well worth looking into. Richard Hadfield, Steve, been watching 3 Does now for 6 weeks, still waiting on Stag. Where is he, mate? That's a very good question. Let me know how you go with that. Dan Stevens, how are you? Dan's good to see you back, mate. Grizzly Hunting, g'day Steve, loving this, mate, well done. Okay, how did you rate the Aldi rangefinder? Value for money, especially when I bought mine, was, I think they come out at $149, $150 Australian, and then there was a few left, so I picked up a few for $99, and all the ones I got have all gone. I kept one, and the rest of the boys have grabbed them. Yeah, look, for the average punter, the average hunter, they're going to do the job. And like I said, there's a couple of little features on them that were pretty good. That one, I forget that. Whatever the terminology was on it, but it basically you can set it to a position that it won't pick up the bush right in front of you. It'll only range, I think, past 100 yards, whatever. But since I've bought that Aldi rangefinder, I think the one that I have is not the same as the current Aldi one, or the most recent one they've sold. I think that's different again. So I really can't make judgment on the current one because I haven't seen it. What have we got here? Jamie M. Richard, the boys will separate from the girls until the rut. Yeah, thanks, guys. Again, I bring up the point of, yeah, if I don't answer the questions as well as you think I have, I'm sure someone else will point you in the direction. And if I don't think I can answer the question correctly, I'll hopefully point you in the direction to someone that can. Right. The Wind 338. Hi Robbo, have you ever used the Rcbs Chargemaster electric powder measures? And if so, how do you find them? Cheers, Jamie S. No, mate, I have not used that one. I've only used the Lyman, so I can't make comment on that one. Sorry, mate. What is your largest Samba stag? Mitch Brown. To be honest with you, I have never run a tape measure over any of the ones that I've got. I only look at them and think, oh yeah, that's pretty big. I could go out and measure them, but look, to be honest with you, I haven't shot one over 30 inch, I can tell you that much. Had my opportunities, but not good enough. I'm not good enough, I should say. Hunter and Fisher NZ. Oh, blimey, what have I done there? What do you think of suppressors? Well, we don't have them, so I can't think too much of them. But I think for myself, even if they were all of a sudden legal here in Australia, or we could have them, I don't even know if I would actually sort of use one in most of my, especially deer hunting situations, because adding length to my barrel would sort of just probably annoy me more than anything. And probably being used to not having them, you know, I sort of don't miss it because I've never had them. So, but yeah, definitely, I think they have their place, and obviously your Kiwi boys make very good use out of them, and you obviously manufacture some top rate stuff over there. So yeah, definitely, I think if you started off with them, I think you'd find it'd be very hard to not have one. But for us, sort of never had it, so you don't miss what you haven't had, I suppose. Stuart Carter. Wanting to start hunting fallow for a change. Have you any tips compared to hunting sambar? Well, obviously fallow, if you're after bucks, have sort of a designated rutting time, sort of. But Sambar are different, as in you can have some that are hard antler in in the same location as some that are in velvet. So there's your first difference. So that if you want to find them in hard antler, well, you're going to have to hunt them in the rut. Want to start? I don't know. What else could I add to that? Fallow for chat. Have you any tips? Not really. Look, they're like any deer, but the only difference with fallow is you'll often find them sort of herded up a lot more than obviously with sambar. Yeah, but look, they're still a deer, still shoot them in the same spot. Obviously, you can probably get away with a smaller caliber for fallow, well, you definitely can. But other than that, pretty much the same. Chris Oda. Hi, Robbo. I'm just starting out backpack hunting myself. What do you know now that you wish you knew when you started out? Good question. Probably I should have done a lot more of it and a lot earlier. That'd be the first thing I would say. I think the most important thing is to treasure your feet. I think the most important thing there is good footwear. Like when we started off hunting, mate, we just worked out, hunted in our work boots. It was probably the worst thing I ever did for my feet, and I've paid the ultimate price. So, yeah, especially when you're carrying good heavy loads, I would definitely, besides a good fitting pack, make sure you get good footwear. Billy Leontio, hope I've said that right, Billy. Hey, Robbo, that intake cleaner you use to clean your bore, Auto Barn and Super Cheap don't stock it anymore. Any other intake cleaner I can use? If they don't stock it, I still think Newlon are actually making it, but I think they've changed the name of it. I've got so many cans of it left, I haven't sort of looked at it for a while, but yeah, I know there's a few guys who've actually said to me they found the alternative product, and look, they may have just rebadged it. Yeah, I might have to do a little bit of homework on that one for myself, because there's obviously going to be a problem there. But I used to use I think it was a Quicksilver product, which was an outboard cleaner or manifold cleaner. So yeah, you could look at that. Any of those sort of foaming air intake cleaners should do the job. Reed Wilkie, thoughts on a 243 or 308 for starter rifle for a 12-year-old looking at hunting, starting with goats and pigs, but would like to get into deer as well. Well, 308. It's definitely going to do the deer side of it better, especially if you're talking sambar. Obviously, your 243 is not legal. If you're just shooting fallow, yeah, you could get away with the 243, or the Pope as I call it, or many people call it. And obviously you can load either of them down. But if it was me, one rifle only, 308, you can always load it down for recoil if it's an issue. But obviously it depends on the size of the kid. There's some big 12-year-olds around too. Rod McGrath. G'day, Robbo. Running a T3X 300 Win Mag. What's the best factory ammo I can use in it, I say, for sambar in 180 grain? I don't shoot it myself and I don't use a lot of factory ammo. But Steve that hunted with us a while back was using some factory ammo and I've forgotten what it was. He did tell me the other day too. So he might chime in here. Otherwise, leave that in the comments after this processes and I'll get back to you on that, because he's been pretty happy with that, because he's virtually got that exact same rifle. I think his might be a Tika T3, not a T3X. I might be wrong, but yeah, definitely keep in touch, mate, and I'll find out what he was using, because he did tell me it does shoot well. Stephen Lie Detector Shoot Poke. G'day, Robbo. How are you, Steve? Right, I've got to be very careful here this doesn't flick up and I miss. Blimey, there's a few come up now. Hold on, guys. I've skipped ahead too much. Okay, Jason Johnson. Thoughts on lever guns for close range sambar hunting, 30-30 in particular. Thanks, Robbo. No. No, I'm sorry. I think if you're going to go a lever gun, I think there's one lever gun that stands out for me, and that would be the 4570. Dale J. Okay, Billy. Yeah, Game Trail Films, and that's Steve there. Hopefully he'll chime in to answer that question on the 300 WSM, 300 Win Mag, the Tika. Yeah, so Steve's saying, I have the Rcbs Chargemaster light and it works fantastic, just calibrate every time. And that is the key with all the electronic scale. So thanks, Steve. David Stokes, can you please give a shout out to Maddie McNiven? Took me out for my first deer hunt and I got one. One happy bloke and now I'm addicted. Maddie McNiven, I hope I'm saying your name well and correctly. David says, thank you very much and good on you, mate, for taking a fellow hunter out. And not only that, you've taken him out and he's got a deer. It's top stuff, so good on you, boys. Mac Rocco, hey, how are you, mate? Hunter and Fisher NZ, I use suppressors on our 243 and 308 and probably never go back. They are great unless you are bush stalking. Yeah, definitely that extra length on the barrel. I know some of them actually go over the barrel and come almost right back to the front of the stock. But yeah, any extra length on your barrel in the scrub can be a right pain in the backside. But you can always change your strap length and lower it down. So it's, look, I think the key to any barrel is when you're carrying it over your shoulder especially, is to have it below your head height when it's on the strap. Robin Coker, evening, Steve-O. G'day, mate. How are you, champ? David Davis. Hi, Steve. Love all your vids, mate. Good job and loving Tech Tuesday. Learning heaps as we go. Dave from South Aussie. Thanks, Dave. Try my best. Okay, Paul Ayres. Jeez. Not a deer hunter myself, but curious to know if there's such a thing as a closed season on deer, or is it all year round? I'm probably not the best to answer on this, but I can tell you in the National Park, the Australian National Alpine, the Alpine National Park, yeah, there is a closed season. Virtually, I think it starts, don't quote me on the exact date, but I think it's from early December, I think, until sometime in February. It's all in the literature from the GMA and whatever, but yeah, and I think they've changed it a little bit too. But it's basically just to keep hunters out of the Alpine National Park over the sort of the peak periods over summer. So yeah, it's other than that, yeah, a few of the rules have changed. Like originally we could only hunt sambar in the Alpine National Park. Now I think it's all deer. So you do have to keep up with the regs. And yeah, if I'm in doubt, I'll just go back to the book. I might dig the book out later, but you can also check online. Robin Coker, Newline Carbide Cleaner on eBay, $12. There you go. Thanks, mate. Matthew Warren, they stock it as Newline Pro Strength Upper Engine Cleaner. Yeah, look, these companies are forever changing the name, so I'm not surprised. Chris Oda, hi Robbo, second question. Thanks for the first answer. No problem, buddy. What are some of the things you've bought on the cheap for backpack hunting that you wish you spent more on up front and also on in reverse? Well, the trouble is, some of the stuff I've actually bought cheap is some of the best stuff. Like Dougie Reed's given me some great tips over the years. So if you ever want to learn anything about sambar deer, just get onto those blokes. Dougie Reed, Reg Gordon, all those. They're a wealth of knowledge, and they're not afraid to share. So he always said to me, get one of the old MacPack backpacks, and I think I paid $75 for it, and it's still going strong. So yeah, I really haven't got a lot of things. I sort of educate myself as much as I can, like we all are here, trying to ask questions and whatnot, but I really can't say that well, I'll put it this way, I might have to come back to that. And if something comes up in my mind that has failed on me, yeah, but most of it I've had a pretty good run, to be honest with you. Billy Leont. Paul Ayres, I'll look at the Newline website and couldn't find it at all. Interesting. There you go. Game Trail Films. Steve has just said to answer the question on the best ammo, factory ammo for the Tikka 300 Win Mag is a Winchester Deer Season XP 150 grain, shoots 0.4 minute of angle. So there you go. Another Tikka that shoots well, and to do that well with factory ammo is pretty damn good. Stuart Carter. Loved your latest High Country series, mate. When could we possibly see some more coming? Well, there's a thing that gets in the way. It's called work, and yeah, it tends to get in the way of my leisure time, which is, if you got an answer to that problem. But yeah, possibly in the next month we might be away for a bit of a break. So yeah, hang tough, buddy. Jamie M. You just mentioned reduced loads. Have you gone below ADI minimum, or do you mean running Trail Boss for subsonic type loads? I wouldn't mind something quiet while deer hunting for varmints that pop up. Yes, mate, Trail Boss. Straight up. Trail Boss I've used in everything from the 308 to 7mm Rem Mag to currently I've just finished testing the 243 on that combination gun with the little 55s and Trail Boss. And I won't go into that too in depth, but basically I've been able to get the 55s to run at about 2200 feet a second. So that's about 22 Magnum. The best group I got, to be honest, was about half to 3/4 minute of angle. So I'm going to see how they perform. Yes, Trail Boss does work pretty well, but there's not a lot of data on it, so you really need to sort of just experiment. Okay, Matthew Warren. Newline part number is UEC 150. Thanks, mate. John Z 300. Ron McGrath. My 300 Win Mag in Tikka T3. I run factory Remington core locks, and it loves shooting them. One of the best bullets. They've been around for years and probably one of the most reliable. So yeah, if you can get Remington core locks to shoot well, and actually in saying that, that combination gun I've got, the first thing I fired through it was the 80 grain core locks in the 243, and I was blown away. It was sort of grouping close to an inch at 200 yards. So yeah, some good stuff. But the only issue if you're ever going to get any issue with factory ammo, is different batches. Some batches can vary from one to what you've had before. We've had that a lot in 17 HMR. Doit bag, hi, little late. That's all right, better late than never, mate. Witty pun. I want to head to Victoria for my first ever deer hunting the next year or two. I have a T3 in 308 and it's a varmint barrel. Would this be worth bringing, or should I stick to something lighter? It's up to you, mate. If you can carry it, it's going to do the job. It's purely weight. Wouldn't be my first choice, but the 308 obviously is going to be fine for deer, but it's just going to come down to weight. Wombat Adventures. Hi, mate. Do you know if campfires are allowed in national parks? Well, as far as I know, yeah. As long as you're responsible with them. Yeah, maybe again someone can enlighten me, but it's, mate. Yeah, I think you've just got to be. Look, obviously in the summer, well, one, you're not going to be in there for hunting, but yeah, look, you just got to be smart about it. James Clements, camouflage gloves thoughts. Well, in general, I don't really like gloves unless I absolutely have to put them on. Camo gloves, I've got a few. Yeah, I won't say that they would hurt, because definitely the palm of your hands or the back of your hands stand out like the proverbial. So yeah, I can't say they would hurt. Look, more than anything, if you're going to wear gloves in a hunting situation, you still need to be able to feel that trigger, unless you're going to be in a situation that you can rip them off quick enough, but that's never going to happen. Stuart Carter, do you use sweets, Robbo? I bought some the other day, but have been reluctant to try it after reading some bad experiences. Thanks in advance. Yeah, I use, in my cleaning process, I like to try and get rid of all the carbon and that first, and that's where that Nulon sort of upper cylinder cleaner gets rid of that first. That's all your black stuff in your barrel. After that's gone, then you obviously want to try and get rid of all the residual copper. Sweets, I used it probably solely for years, and besides absolute stink, it definitely works, but what you have to do is you have to make sure you get it all out, because it will just keep eating into the rifling. So that's the key. And one of the things I would do once I just dry patched, was actually just put a bit of metho on a patch it out, and then if I was going to store it, just a very light machine oil. I used to use Militech, actually. I don't know if that's still available. A lot of guys, again, don't quote me here because I don't use it, but a lot of them, I think they store them with hops number 9, but I've never done that. But again, don't quote me here. Mac Rocker. So I've heard many rumours that ADI has had a massive order from someone on the 2213 SC and triple or double 255 powders, and that it will become unicorn fairy dust for a while. Can you give any info about it? First I've heard of it, mate, but this is often the case. Big orders come in, and what's ADI, Talus, whatever they're called. I think it's actually a French company. Again, I might be corrected here, but yeah, obviously any military stuff comes in, any orders, they're going to get priority. Daniel Martin, interested on your thoughts on the Burris Eliminator 3. I've just put one on and I only get it sighted in so far. No, mate, I know nothing of them. Never used them. I know a little bit about them, obviously, but no. To answer your question, no. I don't know anything of it. Sorry, mate. Mac Rocker. Oh, thanks, mate. Good on you. Aussie Outdoors. What do you prefer to clean your brass with, wet or dry, and how long do you tumble to get the job done? I've just used the corn cob media for a while. As it gets a little bit older, yeah, sometimes we used to pour a little bit of brass up with it. But yeah, look, the thing is, even with the corn cob media, you do get a little bit of like a residue, so it always pays to wipe your brass after it comes out of the tumbler. And one thing I've always tumbled it with the leave the old spent primers in there, because getting them out of the primer pockets can be a pain in the backside. But I heard a little tip just recently from someone saying that they actually just use rice in their tumbler, just dry rice. It's cheap. Haven't tried it myself, so it's another alternative as well. Jason Richards, g'day Robbo. What's the weight of your pack on, say, a 4 to 5 day backpack trip? What's the weight of my pack? Way too heavy. But a little bit different situation for myself, because I could have 5 to 10 kilos of camera gear, batteries and everything associated. But like most of the guys say, trying to keep between 20 and 25 kilos would be sort of optimum. Once you start pushing 30 kilos plus, it really burns you, especially if you're climbing. So, yeah, I think if you can keep it under 25 kilos, I think you could do that if you're not carrying water. That's the other thing. If you've got to carry water, different scenario. Water is a deal breaker. Deutbag. Yes, Wombat, fires all out. You can search for it in the CFA. Thanks, mate. Jamie M. Yeah, grab a tub of Trail Boss. It's definitely worth giving a try. Can be a little bit sooty in the barrels, though. It blackens them up quite a bit. Jack me off. I love that. Jason, your pack should be no more than a quarter your body weight. I like that theory, and I wish I could stick to it. Dan Stevens, what's your thoughts on breaking in rifles, especially centerfire? Very good question. I've sort of done it on some and haven't done it on others. And to be honest with you, If we're talking factory rifles, which barrels are usually not hand lapped to the degree of, say, a match grade rifle barrel, I can't say it's going to hurt. I think the biggest thing is not to just keep firing shots out of any barrel, whether you're breaking it in or not, whether you're sighting it in. You want to replicate normal shooting or hunting situations and keep your barrel cold. It won't hurt to sort of clean it more often at the start, and then basically say, look, I would probably, when I first got a new rifle, the first thing I would do is give it a thorough clean before firing it, because you're going to have protective grease or whatever they use in that barrel. So you need to get all that out. But after that, I would probably go, the first sort of 5-10 shots, I would do it every 5. And once I've got sort of 20, 30 rounds through it, I'd probably, like if I'm testing rounds, I would probably clean after every 10, do a fouling shot with just factory ammo or whatever, and then shoot my groups, again trying to do it on a cold barrel. So yeah, look, I really haven't seen the benefits of running in barrels, to be honest with you. Wayne Spiter: hi Steve, how you going? You mentioned earlier not to wear work boots for hunting, as your feet is your biggest issue. What reasonable price and quality for value brand boots are out there? Well, that's the trouble. You do need to spend decent money, but it all comes down. Boots are a very personal thing, whether you've got a narrow foot, wide foot. Now, I personally, well, my feet are buggered, to be honest with you, but I have a wide foot, and you sort of know when you first put the boots on, but definitely make sure you use the socks, or try them on with the socks that you're going to wear. I've sort of, it's gone to the better boots, the lowers, Asolo, over the last 4 or 5 years, and even then, don't be afraid to change your inserts to get the boot. You know, the better you can get it fitting, the better you're going to travel especially when you're carrying weight. So I think you're going to be looking at $200 upwards, mate. 200 Australian, that is. Darren Saunders: hi, I reload 30-06 with Remington Core-Lock projectiles and go really well. Yeah, again, far from a bad choice, the old Remington Core-Locks. Alright. Jeez, I don't know, jump up very easily here. Jamie M said here, Aussie Outdoors: I run wet tumbler with dishwashing liquid and citric acid, decap first, then tumble for half an hour, rinse new mix of dish liquid, and then go again for half an hour. Well, there you go. There's another little thing. I've never tried that. Vasil Karadvensis. I hope I said Vasily, I should say. Hi, thanks for the videos and tips. Pleasure, mate. Pleasure, Vasily. Troy Crew, mate, just want to say cheers for all your videos coming from someone that has been in the dark place many times in depression and PTSD. When the phone dings with a new video, definitely takes me away. Well, Troy, mate, I'm glad this is one little avenue that sort of puts a smile on your dial, and don't ever hesitate to contact me, and yeah, keep in touch, mate. Luke Davis: hey mate, countdown is on, almost springtime, Samba pack hunt time. Good on you, Luke. We'll have to catch up soon, mate. Matthew Warren: second that rice in the tumbler is a go. Yeah, I haven't tried it, but I think it's a good cheap alternative, unless you can replace it probably more often. Juggernaut 81: doesn't the rice turn into rice flour over time? Yeah, but it's cheap, so throw it out and put some more in. Richard Hadfield: good on you, Steve, for that extra weight, mate. We get pleasure from it. Thanks. I need a Sherpa. Aaron Hewitt: thoughts on the 17 Rem cartridge in looking at its L461, current thinking about moving up to speak from the 17 HMR. Never been a massive fan, mate. Yeah, definitely, it's a dedicated Fox rifle. Yeah, I think the 223, 204, 222 offer more versatility. But look, a lot of blokes love their 17s and they get them dialed in really well, but they do burn barrels. And Yeah, look, to be honest with you, I think unless you're meticulous with maintenance on your barrels, you're going to get sort of anywhere from 1,000 to 2,000 rounds before they start to go off. Well, that's what they used to do with, but that could be the older powders too. I'm sure, again, I'll probably get corrected here. Billy T. Hi, Steve. I'm looking at buying the Seiko Rough Tech Pro, but the only thing putting me off is the plastic trigger guard and plastic bolt shroud. Your thoughts, please. I think, to be honest with you, Billy, I think people get too stressed out about plastic, to be honest with you. I think plastics are some of the best products. I've never had an issue with them, and even if you do, what's the worst scenario? You get a replacement. Yeah, mate, look, all it does is reduce weight, and to be honest with you, in some cases it's a little bit more robust, as in, it's pretty tough. I wouldn't be too concerned about that. And I said the worst scenario, if you don't like it, we'll replace it. But no, never an issue for me. Same on the Tikkas. Dale J. Thoughts on hunting chest rigs? What do you use for carrying gear close to your hand on your walk and stalk hunts? They take a bit of tuning up to get right, and I love mine now. I've actually got two of them, but the trouble is the one I use, which is a Camelback Delta 5, hasn't been in production for quite a while. And look, they're basically a molly vest that you can tune them up to have however it suits you. The best part of it is obviously you can have everything on the front, and at the moment I've sort of put the buckles on, all the clips on that come with a marsupial harness, and I've got two of those marsupial harnesses, so I can actually have one for my little 8 power binos and the bigger one for my 15s if I choose to use them. So yeah, definitely have their advantage. There's a few others on offer, but because I haven't been looking for them, I really haven't, I couldn't tell you what's the best at the moment. But yeah, if you can find the old Delta 5, I'd grab one of them, because they've actually got the integrated water bladder, which is actually a military grade water bladder, that dark smoke grey, better fittings than the standard Camelback. Yeah, it's a shame, because I would buy another one. Also open to, love your work, keep it up, bud. Thanks, David. Thanks, Dean. Fox whistling. Hey, Robbo, mate it. Cheers, Paul. Keep up the great work. Thanks, mate. Good on you, mate. It's great to see you here. Let me just have a swig of me Pepsi Max, boys. Robin Coker. I was wearing Ridgeline cam light, which were no good, too narrow recently. Bought Ridgeline. Blimey, you always give me a hard word to pronounce. Arapaho. Bloody love them. For a cheaper boot, I'm happy. Now, see, again, I remember Robin, actually check out his channel, because he does actually does a lot of good videos. But he did talk about these boots, and I'm sure he'll correct me if I'm wrong, because he, lucky bugger, won a Ridgeline pack. But yeah, I've seen he's been wearing those, and he's, again, you need to try them on, and look, sometimes, a bit hit and miss. Sometimes you put a boot on and you go, bang, oh, yeah, this fits, this feels good. And for me at the moment, the lower ranges, and what I like about the lower, because most people have one foot that's slightly different to the other, is you can buy the shims that go in the bottom, and you can buy them and just keep adding them in underneath your insole. So if you've got a loose fit on one boot compared to the other. Wayne Spider, thanks, Steve, love your work. Thanks, mate. Chuck, geez, again, I've flipped up too much here. Blimey, hold on, boys. I didn't realise there's so many up here. Okay, Stuart Carter. Recommendations on a set of binoculars. Was looking at the Vortex Diamondbacks. Do you think the higher quality glass makes that much difference for normal hunting situations? Yeah. One thing with binoculars, buy the best you can buy, and they will last you a lifetime. If you're using them a lot, straight up, the big difference you'll notice with good binos, not only the light gathering, how clear they are, but how less stressful they are on your eyes when you're using them for a long time. So I can tell you what will happen. You buy the cheaper ones, you'll end up with the dearer ones. So my advice here is look at the best ones you can possibly buy, but just remember, you don't have to buy them new. Sometimes there's some really good second-hand binos that come up in the top range, and they're not much dearer than the ones that you're looking at when they're new. Well, when I say a lot dearer, not much dearer. They're obviously going to be dearer, but again, as has been mentioned before, buy once, cry once when it comes to optics. Digger Mel, g'day Robbo, I want to start reloading my 308 bullets. I've never reloaded bullets, but want to know what to know will be the most simple progressive reloading machine I can use. Cheer Mel. Progressive, well, there's progressive as in one pull a lever, rotation, whatever. Well, Dylan's probably the only one that I really know of. I've never been into progressive presses, so again, I'm not probably the one for that. I know Hornady do them, I think, as well. It's probably, again, there's probably more people out there know more about progressive presses than I do. But yeah, look, I've never really seen the need, unless you're doing bulk quantities. Just a normal single action press is just about any brand will do the job. Yeah, so if progressive press, sorry mate, I'm not an expert. My brother's had the Dylan for years and he loves it. I was only talking to him about it the other day. Loose Goose, love your work, mate. Thanks, mate. Hunter and Fisher NZ, what do you think of Winchester Super X ammo? I hadn't used it. I don't use much factory ammo, and Super X, as in, I'm not sure what caliber you're talking about. If you're talking, I don't know. Look, I hardly buy factory ammo. So if you're talking 22 ammo, which I don't think Super X, actually I think Super X is a 22 ammo. Mate, you'll have to just broaden my horizons there and just mention what caliber you're talking, because to be honest with you, I don't use it, so I can't really give exact answer there. Mitch WA, g'day. Just looking at getting a shotgun to go with my 223 whilst fox whistling. Would a lever action 12 gauge or a good double barrel be better? Combination would cover both, but there's something that's not too popular here. Look, lever guns, I think there's been so many have come out that I don't know if any of them have been absolutely perfect as their functionality. But if you want a good under and over, pick up an old Winchester 101. Probably get them in a 28-inch barrel. That's what all the boys have almost, well, yeah, a few of us have had them and got them. One thing with the Winchester 101s, even though they're a single trigger, they're actually a mechanical trigger and don't rely on the percussion to set your second shot. So basically you can pull that trigger even without firing it, then pull it again. It will fire both barrels every time. And there's not a lot of bottom end guns that do that. So Winchester 101, if you can pick up a good one, would be my recommendation. Lever guns, haven't used them myself, but I've seen enough reports of probably of all the ones that have come out, there's probably more bad than good from what I've seen. Jamie M, he's just replying to Hunter and Fisher NZ. Dale Joy. Okay, there's a few boys just replying to each other here, which is fantastic. Aaron Williams, g'day mate. I have a sambar hunt coming up this coming weekend. Weather is looking fairly poor. Yep, you're going to be in for it. Do I drop down off the tops or still run high in the morning and low in the arvo? Well, that comes down to the altitude of the hills around you. But I can guarantee you, if this storm comes in, the deer are going to be sheltered up, mate. So I would be, one, hunting in the gullies or whatever where it's out of the wind. And definitely, look, I think you could probably be just about guaranteed to be down sort of below 800 metres, guaranteed, would be where I think the deer is starting to going to be lowering themselves down. They'll know what's coming. So yeah, look. Just picture yourself if you're in there and you're standing out in the blazing snow and wind and whatever. Would you be doing it for too long? They're going to be shouldering up. So wherever you know or wherever you can find that it's out of the wind, there's a good chance they're going to be there. All right. Yeah, Dan Stevens, Mitch, so have a look at some of the straight pulls. Yeah, there is a few coming out at the moment. Again, I've had no first-hand experience. So. Sorry, guys. Yeah, jack me off. Wayne Spider. Spend the money on your boots. Wish I had the choice of boots when I was in the infantry. My feet would not be as bad. Without your feet, you are not walking anywhere. Yep. True that. Rex, how are you, mate? Rex Wilmer. I'm currently on a 7-day solo truck-based sambar hunt. My go-to is a T3 Stalker 300 Win Mag, 180 grain SSTs or AccuBond or TSX, depending on habitat cover. I use a 74 grain 2213 SC with good results. Same for the 3006, 58 grains 2209. Thanks, Reg. Always Reg. I've got Reg Gordon on my mind. I've just been watching his videos. Thanks, Rex. Righto, here we go. Oh, keeps jumping up. All right. Shane Von Horton. Billy T. Bolt shroud is just a dust cover. No issue on trigger guard. Yeah, exactly. I wouldn't get too stressed about that. I mean, 45 minutes in already. Jamie M. Pepsi Max, aka half mix of rum. Not tonight, but I should be doing that. Nick Ander, I just bought some Ridgeline Apache boots, going off some reviews. I saw mentioning the great value for money and how well they stood up to a beating. Well, be interested in feedback about them, Nick, after you've had them for a while. So definitely keep in touch, mate. Matthew Warren, Dale J. Supial gear is fantastic, mate. I wish got one years ago. Yeah, it's good. It's good and simple. Nick Ander, only done a 9k hunt in them so far. They feel good. Oh, that's good. That's 9k. It's a fair old hike with a bit of load on your back. Do it back, no worries, mate. You'll learn more of simple single stage. Yes, very true. Okay. Oh, I can't pronounce this one. But what's your thoughts on the best foxing guns? 17 HMR or 22 Magnum? Good question. Both have their attributes. 17 HMR, as I've mentioned before, with the normal 17 grain pill, out to 100 yards, shoot them in the chest, they'll go down. Obviously shoot them in the head, they'll go down. 150 yards, if you're going to push that, you need to hit them in the head. 22 Magnum, in my experience with it, has always been let down with ammunition. I think they've improved it a lot since the sort of plastic tip projectiles coming out. If you can get a 22 Magnum shooting well, it's going to have the extra weight downrange, and probably, yeah, even though it's not going to have as flat a trajectory to start off with, your downrange hitting power is going to be harder. And yeah, I think it would have its advantages once you start pushing to 150, or if you want to go a little bit further. Mackenzie Brown. Hey, Robbo, joined late, but looks like it's going good. Yeah, thank God. Good on you, mate. Thanks for coming by, dropping by again. Dan, 79 Series Toyota. Hey, Robbo, thanks for all your effort. Pleasure, mate. In your opinion, what's the best, safest and easy way to carry your rifle while walking and hunting? E.g. round in, chamber, safety on. Thanks, mate. Very good question. I've always sort of been one for either barrel up in the air or barrel down the ground. That's how I was taught from the time I was a young kid. The issue you have when deer hunting is what rifle you're using. And sort of sometimes I get a feeling when I come in up over a gully that I'm thinking something's going to happen here. And in those situations, if I'm on my own and I'm in an area that I think is reasonably safe, as in I'm not going to have to be clamming for rocks or grabbing onto trees, whatever, if I get that feeling, I will actually put a round in the chamber, but I'll have the bolt in the half-cock position, sort of with the bolt across through my thumb like that as I'm carrying the rifle. I'd actually prefer to do that than actually have a round in there, bolt down and rely on safeties. I do not like relying on safeties. I'll put them on when I'm sitting in a position ready to fire, say if we're calling in foxes, because obviously once they're coming in you can't be chambering around. But I'm not a big fan of relying on safeties. I've seen a few fail over the years. So yeah, it's, look, safe direction, and you really just have to call it around your conditions. I don't have one set rule. I sort of set it according to the conditions I'm in and who I'm hunting with as well. All right. Would my 4590 be too big for Sammer? Never too big for Sammer, Steve. Enough said. How are you, mate? Winchester Super X for my 22 250 was better than any of my reloads. Well, there you go. You're on a winner. Dan Stevens, Dale J, agree on the clunky lever. Got a straight pull that works nicely. 5 shots compared to 2 makes it worthwhile for me. I'll have to speak to you about that, Dan, because they do intrigue me, but I've sort of held off. When the whole thing with lever guns started up a couple of years ago, I thought, no, I'm going to sit back and wait, and I'm glad I did, to be honest with you. Thanks, Sam. Righto, Peter Croy and Golden Hunting, down low out of the snow. Yeah, that's exactly right. Jody Hurd, hey Robbo, how do you rate your carbon stock now after a bit of use? Looking to update my stock on a 270 Tikka. Yeah, well, mine is, even though it's been taken, look, mine is a Kiwi composite, which is now South Fort Labs. Now, I don't know whether they've changed the structure or the production quality or whatever, so I can't comment on the latest ones. So I can only comment on the Kiwi composite. And to be honest with you, if you're looking at just gaining some weight, as in losing weight, there's bugger all in it. But the overall feel of the stock and the way the rifle stocks in comparison to, say, the plastic stock, the feel of it, the recoil, massively improved. It's a lovely gun to shoot. Recoil pad's obviously better than the standard pad. It's basically a limb saver. But I thought they might have been quite a loose or sort of a slippery grip. But just the plain carbon fibre is surprisingly warm when you're in cold climates, and surprisingly, I won't say grippy, but it's got a good feel to it. And the palm swell in the hand, on your trigger hand, is fantastic. So yeah, I wouldn't hesitate to buy another one. But bear in mind, they're not just a direct drop in. You have to bed them. And yeah, if you're not into that sort of thing, you're going to have to pay to get it done. So just bear that in mind. Dale J to Dan Stevens. I had one in the SHS straight pulls and tried to get a 20-inch barrel for it. Couldn't get it to fit properly. Both my gunsmith and the rep, he sold it off. Oh, that's bad to hear. Try my mate's Adler. I'm pretty sure sticking your hand in a blender would be nice. Classic. Aussie Outdoors. What's your thoughts on colour filters for spotlighting foxes, e.g. green, red? I don't give them enough time to worry about filters, mate. I've never used them, and to be honest with you, the intensity of the light drops off that much. I don't like them. Never seen the need myself. Yeah, pleasure, Aussie Outdoors. Yeah, Jamie M. Red does cut the light down a ton. Bradley Moore. G'day, Robbo. How are you, mate? Oh, boys, we're almost an hour in, so I'm going to go another 5-10 minutes or until the questions start to drop off. Before I go on any further, I may be starting to stretch this out. We'll see how we go. Probably do one more next week, and then whether I go on to fortnightly or whatever, we'll see what the sort of response is. But I'll be honest with you, I've had some good input from topics and whatever, which I'll sort of go through and reassess. I've still got a few topics that I'd like to talk about, but definitely, guys, I need as much feedback as I can. And like I've said before, the comments won't be enabled for probably, I'd say, after this video gets sort of dealt with YouTube. But definitely come back in a couple of days, or Facebook or whatever. Just give me some input so I can keep this going. Jamie and green more light. I prefer just running a halogen spotty, but only used for picking them up. Switch over to night vision. Yeah, the night vision, there's a lot of guys using that for predator stuff, and yeah, it's obviously got its advantages. Digger Mel, hey Robbo, is it better to hunt deer when it's cold, wet days, or when it's dry weather, looking at going out this Friday? Well, if you're going out in Victoria this Friday, you're going to be in for some cold, wet conditions. So let me know how you go. But like I said, Samba are going to shelter up in the poor conditions. It's pretty simple. So if you can get into some little hidden sort of gullies and whatever, and you've got good visibility, you're in with a chance. Otherwise, a good chance they're going to be really bedded down. And the only thing you're going to see them is when they've honked you, or when they've stood up in front of you when you're not expecting it. So, I'm not saying it's bad, but just be prepared to change the way you hunt. Aussie Outdoors, cheers. Nick Ando, check out the Z Vision hunting torches. They are top shelf and pure red LED, means for reds, 5 times the distance and filter throws. Interesting, mate. Thank you. Hayden Rides. Hey mate, how would you go about getting access to private land to hunt on cheers? Well, you go up the front door and you knock on it. It's as simple as that. But be prepared to be knocked back. But the thing is with private land hunting is you've got to remember that you're there to do a job for them. So speak to the farmer if he gives you the opportunity to find out what issues they've got and have a plan for them. And, you know, the more you help them, the more they're going to help you. So just don't be afraid to knock on people's doors. But respect is the key. Richard Haffer, I need this Tuesday night's buddy, long way to Saturday morning hunt. Yeah, I know. This working business is not good. What are your thoughts? Bradley Moore, what are your thoughts on the Haviland knife? I've got one. Ben uses them a fair bit. The idea is good, but look, in all fairness, I think it's always great to learn how to sharpen a knife. And to be honest with you, yeah, I'm not the best at sharpening knives, but I can keep an edge on a knife. And basically, look, to be honest with you, for Samba, for argument's sake, a lot of people say how tough they are to and how hard they are on the knives. To be honest with you, once you're in and under the flesh, they're not a lot different to anything else, to be honest with you. Just look after your knife, trying to stop it hitting bone where possible, just touch it up quite often and not wait till it gets blunt. Pretty simple. Robin Coker, Bradley Moore, I have one. It's amazing for bush dressing and full Samba with one blade. Yeah, look, they've definitely got their place, and possibly if you're trying to do around the head and cape out a deer, they'd have their advantage there, especially around the coronets and stuff like that. Jamie also heard things. Okay, righto guys, we're just up to the hour. Mac Boxwell, are you hesitant at all on knocking on farmers' doors with all the new trespassing issues and what they might think if they see you on their property? Well, it's how you approach them, mate. You know, like, just don't rock up with a whole lot of you. Just go on your own, or maybe 2 of you. And look, if you see someone on the road, look, you've got to judge the individual person and just, again, be polite and respectful. If they turn around and say, no, sorry, mate, I'm not interested, and say, well, thanks very much anyway for listening to me, and off you go, you know. Look, what we got? Geez, I'm missing a few here now. What we got to? All right, guys, we're almost up to an hour. Look, I don't want to have to keep cutting this shorter, but I'm going to have to, or we're going to run out of topics pretty quick. Yeah, Dukes me. Re-getting private land. If you get fresh sea fish cheap and are going inland, take an esky full and hand it when you get a knock. That's it. Look, it's not too hard. You just got to be a good judge of people and just be polite. Like I said, expect a few knockbacks. It's not the end of the earth. Ron, thanks again, Robbo. No problem, Ron. Pleasure. All right, guys, I've got 2 more questions I'm going to answer here, and that'll be it. So, Roxby Cultus, I have a small Z Vision torch that rotates between white and green. Small torch is very good. Thanks, mate. Lots of good torches, John Brown. Lots of good torches about. Many people have their favourites. Personally, I've bought a few O-Light torches now and can't fault them. Yeah, O-Lights are one of the best I've found. A few more questions. Louis A. Is a 4-wheel drive always required to get to a good sambar hunting spots in Vic? No, but you may get into a lot of spots without a 4-wheel drive, but if the weather comes in poorly, you may not get out. So, yeah, look, just about a must-have, to be honest with you. All right, guys. I think I'm going to wrap it up. Again, thanks to everyone for dropping by again. And look, by all means, look, I'd love you for everyone to sort of be involved again. I keep saying it, I know, but I just need everyone to sort of give me a bit of feedback, and we'll go from there. But look, I'll probably have another one next week. I'm thinking of a few topics. I'll usually give you a couple of days notice of what's going to come up. So definitely, yeah, feedback, guys. That's what I need. Anyway, I think that is just about it. So thanks again, guys.